Hello engineers and welcome back to another episode of Automate It. We are currently on World 4 Level 2 Chronium Engine Frostpunk Edition. We will need to get 5 stars as usual. Still not a lot of players are up to World 4 and it's been a while since I last played. So if you haven't checked out this game, Automate It on Steam, come join us, join the leaderboards, let me know what your name is in the comment section. Let's get into it, 5 stars. We'll observe the map as usual. It looks like we've got all our materials in super annoying positions all over the map. Why is my scrolling so slow? Like my screen is frozen. What the heck? Anyway, let's see if we've got any useful materials that have been pre-made for us. We've got steel ready for us and nothing much else. And our delivery is in the center, but it's not given us this section of tile. So we have to like jump it into the center somehow. Well, I guess we can just belt into it, right? Either way, we'll figure it out. We need to maintain and deliver 120 ethereal chromium engines for 60 seconds. But they only make 30 per minute. So we need 2 of these overclocked, at least. What's our time limit? 1:50, so we've got 50 seconds to whir up this machine. Let's check out what recipe we're gonna use. So there's no alternate recipe to make the ethereal chromium thing, so we definitely need these materials, which is the chromium crystal core. That looks pretty easy to do, either in many furnaces or an advanced furnace. But to make 2 of these we would need 60, that's fine. This we would need 60, that looks horrible to do. We will probably do the dissolution chamber version so that we can get 60 out, that way we only need 1 dissolution chamber. Then for this we need 60, so we can use the advanced press method, which makes 120. We would probably definitely want to do that. Otherwise we would need 2 manufacturers per this, which sounds like a pain. Although it seems kind of doable, because this makes 60, this makes 60, this makes 60, and then we just shove it into 2 manufacturers. But remember, we're trying to make double of all of this. So I'm gonna go with this. 1 advanced press to sort it out. This we can go the easiest method of making, and then we just have to make this liquid. Unfortunately, the liquid's not given to us at all, so we're gonna have to make it from base components. Alright, so space is gonna be a massive issue. We'll put the liquid part in last. Is this the salt? No, that's the aluminum. Where's the salt? That's the salt, so we'll reserve some space up here for that. If steel is given to us, perhaps there's an easier way to do this, because we've got steel straight up from here. That way we just need to furnace the copper and make this. But we also obviously want this in an advanced press to make the 50 billion of these that we need. We need so many of this. So we just need to make the 120 of this. So we need 2 advanced presses making this. And then we can overclock everything. That makes sense to me. I reckon we start with this, because we've got the steel. We need to put 60 into a furnace. Nothing fits on these little side platforms, so let's just bring it down. Get a furnace in, say like here. Might want to save some space by turning our elevators. So if we did something, say like this, then our furnace would go something like that. That'll get our 60 out of the furnace. There's no advanced furnace method of doing this a bit faster. But we only need the 60. But we need 120 of this, so we need to double this up. But we need to do this process twice, essentially. Now I'm tempted to turn this thing this way, so I can put it into a splitter. We go into a splitter. We can go 2 furnaces. That's our 2 belts of 60. Then we need 240 of that, so we need to bring the copper. And of course the copper's on the other side of the world. We would need to bring the copper like this. Bring a belt in here. Let me flip this around. Now we need to put it through 2 furnaces as well. So basically the exact same setup as over here. And that gets our 2 belts of this. Now they need to go into 2 welders. So where would we put our 2 welders? Since this is transporting more, I'm more inclined to put it here. Like this. Then we can bring 1 belt over. Something like this. We'll need a split at some point. Bring 1 belt into there. Get a lift up like this and a lift in here like that. And that should get us our 2 belts of this material. They need to go into 2 advanced presses to get 2 sets of power cables. If you're enjoying the video and you want to support Data Engineer Plays, don't forget to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And if you have any feedback or suggestions, feel free to share them in the comment section. I'm tempted to just do something like this, and then we'll sort out the rest later. But if we cross it over here, we'd need to lift it here somewhere, which kind of sucks. We need to do something like this, and this. And then lift it across there like that. Well, that at least gets us our materials. It's not the most ideal shape. But that 120 needs to go into an advanced press with this side of things, which also needs this saltwater liquid thing. And this saltwater liquid thing is going to be hard to fit in. We should have put this onto this side, honestly. Because the salt and the water first go into a dissolution chamber. So I'm going to put it close to the salt. Something like this maybe. Then we can get the salt in like that, and the salt goes into the dissolution chamber. Then we need the water from here. That is salt, right? No, that's silicon, sorry. I flipped my map. The salt water is actually on this side. So we can take that and just shove it onto this side. Why doesn't it like this? Are these at different elevations? I don't think so. I'll just make it again. Get our dissolution chamber there. Get our belt in there. Belt that in. Flip that around. Belt that into there. Now water's right here. So we can bring the water. Are we covering the water exit pipe? Kind of. But we can bring it out this way. And then up. And then across. Like that. There's our salt water, or our brine. Then it needs to go into a biofluxer. I'm just going to check what the thing down here is as well. Either way, it needs to go into a biofluxer to make chloride. So we'll put a biofluxer right on it. Give this a flip first. Get the biofluxer out. And that should make our chloride. And we need to go into another biofluxer to make liquid chloride. However, this side, it needs to do some stuff. Okay, so the chloride needs to be processed through a chemical infuser and a liquid thingo. The chemical infuser is actually massive. So if I put it, say, here, just as a placeholder, then we can process the other bit of the water on this side. But we need a biofluxer as well. Where can I put the biofluxer? Probably facing this direction. Like, say, let's just put it here for now, and we'll move stuff around as necessary. The gas from here needs to go into here, and then into here. That gets our liquid chloride. It needs to mix with 120 of this in 2 dissolution chambers to make the advanced press. With 2 belts of plastic. So where's my plastic? It's over here. So we can do this probably on this side then. So if I bring it over, will this be happy? Let's chuck a lift in. But if it needs to go into 2 dissolution chambers, then once again, it's going to need to do something like this. Split it into 2 dissolution chambers. Like that. we would need to upgrade all of this. Now we've got our plastic in at the right volume, 240, 120 into each one. Then we just need to mix in this liquid. So we'll just chuck it under here for now. And go into there. And then go into there. And there's our 60-60, which is the 120 that we need. Plus the 120 of this that we need. And that needs to go into an advanced press. Fortunately, the advanced press is not too difficult. The only thing is getting this over to the advanced press. Which, let's just lift it for now. This is a little bit inefficient. But we should be able to lift it somewhere back here. Bring it down. Bring it down, say, here. Then this thing needs to go into the advanced press with this thing. And then this stuff needs to come out of here. Go across the world over here. It does not like that. Because this pipe is running along the ground. Let me just cut this pipe and see if this will let me out. But then it'll cross this thing anyway. So I can't cross it there. So I need a lift of some sort. And a lift of some sort. Potentially like this. And then that can go into the lift. But the lift can't go there, so I need to go up one more. So this one needs to go up one more as well. And then hopefully, oops, we can join these two together somehow. Join that into there. And redo this pipe. So now we've got our 120, which is what we need. We need the 120 because, wait, this 120 now doesn't have anywhere to go. I mean, I can lift it here somewhere. That's fine. What else do we need to produce? This liquid we need to finish. Do that last. And then we need to produce the 60 here twice. So we still need 2 dissolution chambers for this, which is using the liquid chloride as well. So we need to fit another 2 dissolution chambers somewhere. Preferably somewhere near the aluminum. This one comes out at 120, which is great. We need 2 lots of furnaces for this one. So our aluminum is coming out of there. That means we need 120 plus a little bit more. So I guess it makes sense to process the aluminum out here somewhere. If we chuck a lift here, something like this, then we can split. The press is easy, we just need to press it. So that gets us our 120, and then we need 2 furnaces for this. So wouldn't it be better to split this 3 ways? Is that even possible though? Maybe I want it facing this direction. And then we'll get this belt running a bit longer. Basically, I want a press, 2 furnaces, one like here and one like here. What if we moved it lined up like this? Then this can go out into a press. Like this. And then if we just link this up like that, bring an elevator facing the correct direction, and then link that up, that should get us what we need. We would need to upgrade the elevator so that we get the right output for everything. This one it doesn't like. There we go. So there's our 120, 120, and that needs to go into 2 dissolution chambers. Where can I fit 2 dissolution chambers? Literally nowhere. Can like barely fit it like this. That's horrible. I would love to fit the dissolution chambers here. Can I move any of this stuff across? Not really. We literally have to use every single bit of space on this map. These elevators are like taking up so much space. But what if I put my elevator, say, here instead? Then we can move this potentially down. One tile, and one tile will make all the difference in the world at this point. Like that. And bring that in. Bring that in. Sorry, my game crashed when this thing looped in on itself, so I had to delete it. But I don't think this is going to fit in here. We kind of need to rethink this. It's definitely easier to do this, right? Because that's just furnaces. If we did the original solution, we'd do this. But that's much, much worse. We can't bring the copper down. But it would save us having to do stuff on this side. We could just use the copper. But we can only bring down... Oh no, we can split it. And then bring 2 belts down. But to make the 120 we need for this, we would just need... Yeah, it's definitely bigger. It's bigger, but it would allow this to be closer. Let me think about this for a second. I need to create a bit more space on this side. So what if we just move the welder out? I reckon we can move the welder over here. Because think about it. Either way, we're going to need to lift the contents of the welder out this way. Right? So we can do that. And then since we need to lift the contents out anyway, we can just put a lift here. Would be the sensible thing to do. And then how was this welder getting its other component, which was coming out of this lift? No, that's making this. There is no other component. It's just one thing. So we can just direct it in like this. And then that should be able to go around the back. And that gets me what I want and the welder out of the way. That means I can now put my 2 dissolution chambers kind of like here and here. Now I've got a little bit more room to play with here. We can possibly just have what we had before. So like this. There. 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 Put the press here. And now that 120 needs to be... Wait, what are we trying to make again? Over here. We're trying to make this thing. So this 120 needs to be distributed into 2 dissolution chambers. So like that. That means we can even maybe move this back 1 tile to go straight in. One of these needs to go straight in. One of these needs to go into here. Like that. And that should be able to go in there. That'll give both the dissolution chambers the 60 per minute of the aluminum products it needs. Now we just need to put the liquid chloride in, which is right here. That shouldn't be an issue. We should just be able to find a clean path out. We can possibly just go over like this, and then we just go up a little bit to clear this thing, and then we should be able to take it out. And that should give full clearance. And then we bring this up to meet it, and that gets the liquid chloride in, which gives us our 2 belts of 60 aluminum casing. So we've got the 120 aluminum casing, we've got the 120 automatic control panels down. This thing should be doable. So we just need 60 per minute of that into advanced furnaces or 4 regular furnaces. So 2 advanced furnaces seems a little bit insane to do. That's actually a challenge. Is that bigger? Or is 2 regular furnaces smaller than this? I think we're gonna have to do this in 4 regular furnaces. So we can bring the 120 out, and then I'm gonna put it as far back as possible. Then we need to split it into 4 belts. So we got a splitter like this. And then we can make 1 belt go here. No. Where can I even fit 4 furnaces here? Fitting 4 furnaces here is going to be tricky AF as well. But we can move this out of the way. Can we move this a little bit better? I can definitely move this a little bit better, right? Because at least we can collapse one tile if we just bring this out like this. So we did something like that. Then all of this can come back one tile. Like this. Can do that. Like that. Link this again. We can change that over there, and that should still be the same thing. Can do that. And that still gets us there, but creates one extra tile of space for the furnaces. So maybe this should start off here. Like this. Then that can go in there. Now we can possibly put the furnaces somewhere. Even if it's a little bit janky. If we put it here, we can put one here, but furnaces can't fit on the edge, that's the problem. But we can at least fit one here, one here. Thinking we need to maybe create more space over here as well. So we can possibly move this. Because this doesn't need, this can be anywhere, right? And if my furnaces can't fit here, they can maybe go here. Ideally there. So if we put these like, say here, for example, and then we can drag a thing here. Can this be in like a slightly better position? Like that. Get rid of this entire pipe. And then we can put this lift, say here, and then we just need a belt in like this. And in theory, if we just link this now, we should be gravy, and there's no extra stands or anything here. Oh, but this needs to be output somewhere. And that was being output up onto a lift. Okay, can we put this lift somewhere else? So we put our lift, say, here. Then we can do that. Flip this back. That just goes straight out like that. Then we can put our lift over here. Like this. Then we can go out from here. Like that. And then this lift can go out to this lift somehow. Like that. And everything here works again. Why is this thing not working? Oh, because I don't have my liquid anymore. Why don't I have my liquid anymore? This thing's not working. No, that thing works. There's our liquid. What are you missing? The liquid. I've deleted something. Yeah, there we go. That's all working now. What I've done now is basically created space for furnaces. So we did something like this. And then if I need another one, say like here. Like this. Then this thing can come down. Split. One belt can go in there. And one belt can wrap around here. Go into this. Not the most efficient thing in the world, but at least we'll get it working. And there's only 60 here, so in theory, they can all come out onto one belt. Into some sort of lift. Where do they need to go? They all need this. So that's our 60 that we need for this. All of that needs to go into 2 dissolution chambers, and we still need to make the liquid hydrogen chloride. So we still need to create some space so that water can be turned with a biofluxer into hydrogen. And then into this chemical infuser. So I have a little bit of space here. Is it enough for a biofluxer? Kind of. Water can't come out there, so it leaves at least one tile of space. Then the water can go along here and then back here and down. Like that. That gets my hydrogen. And the hydrogen needs to go into here. We can go up. And then around this side. And then down here. And that gets our chlorine gas. But then we still need another biofluxer for the final part of this process. And finally, we need 2 dissolution chambers. And do you guys see anywhere we can put 2 dissolution chambers with a setup like this? I don't even physically see the amount of tiles free to do this process. Do you guys see any free tiles on the map where we can even do this process? Because I ain't seen it. So the challenge for this map is basically just to fit all of the processes in to this tiny little space. And we're sure we can't build like dissolution chambers half off the map, right? Or like above things. No. Okay. I'm sure it's possible. It's just very, very hard. We just are lacking so much space. Now that we have a good idea of what goes where, I want to start again and just try to make everything a lot more condensed. The first thing that I'm thinking is that we don't need to use the steel from the other side of the map to do this. Let's just do this press furnace majiggy. So we've done this a billion times before. Into an advanced cutter, we put a press and a furnace. Like that. And this is pretty good, right? So we can leave that there. And then we need a lift to bring this stuff down. Like this from the top. Now I'm going to reserve this side for aluminum majiggies. But in theory, if I just take a copy of this and just shove it like here somewhere. Can't do there. But say there. And then we bring another lift. Like this. Do our splitting of the copper up here. And bring that down like that and into there. Does that not give me what I want? Like that. That gives me my 2 belts of that. And then now into either advanced presses or we can do furnaces to conserve space. So 2 furnaces and a splitter looks like this. Whereas an advanced press... Was it an advanced press? Yeah, advanced press looks like this. I don't know what's smaller. They're both kind of small. But the advanced press doesn't fit here very well. If I did 2 furnaces, it would look like this. Get a belt out. Like that. And then we can fit 2 more furnaces, say, somewhere here. Like that. And that uses up all of this side of space. But that's okay. Because then that comes out. Now that's going to merge with this plastic thing. So we need 2 dissolution chambers. Preferably somewhere close by to the plastic. So we've used up all the space on this side for all these shenanigans. I don't think I can do this any smaller than I'm doing now. We don't need this, but we do need space for 2 dissolution chambers. So something like this. And where do they go? They go into an advanced press at the end of the day. Let's just put the 2 dissolution chambers here. Then I can put that there. There's no way the dissolution chambers fit here, right? Can I reorder this in any way such that this can fit there? That would be really nice. What else do I need to build here besides the aluminum majiggies? Because I can shift this however I like, right? Because these are just 2 belts. If we like hyper condense the space, we can potentially fit this over here. We need to move it even 1 more tile out. Like here. And then is that enough space for the aluminum processing? I'm moving all this out to just have 2 dissolution chambers here. Now, I don't think that's good. Maybe we'll use this space over here for the dissolution chambers. It doesn't really matter. But the 120 of this and the 120 of this just need to go out into an advanced press. So something like this. And if we bring that over, like, say here, and then bring the output of that into there, that should get us what we need. Bringing the plastic in is pretty straightforward. We just do something like this. Doesn't like that, but we can do something like this. Bring the plastic. Get it at the right height. Bring the plastic into there. I know I can optimize some of these belts. I'm not too worried about that. The other side of the plastic requires this liquid. So we're going to have to do the most optimal liquid processing that we can. So let's get our biofluxer in. Sorry, our dissolution chamber in. We'll get the salt in, probably here. Like that. Get that in there the same way we did before. Won't fuss about too much with this. Get our water coming out this way and then up. Get our water coming out this way. Get this water into there. And there's our salt. Might have to flip this as we always do. Then we'll get our biofluxer in again right here. Then we need to biofluxer this again to get into there. So I need another biofluxer here with at least one space so that we can gas this down, and that gets us our chloride. But then on the other side, we need to deal with the water again. We might as well fit these machines in because we know we're going to need it at some point. We need a biofluxer to deal with the water. So something like that. There's the water in. Then the hydrogen needs to go out into a chemical infuser. So say like that. The hydrogen is the red one, so we just go in there. And then this thing needs to come out this side as well, but we'll go up and over. Like that. We've got to cut this thing. Bring that up and over. And that gets us our but that needs to be biofluxed again. And we can just do that directly, right? Yeah, there we go. Biofluxer directly to get this liquid. That's pretty tight of a setup. We're wasting a whole row of space there, but what can we do about that? We need to get this liquid into here. So we can just do that any which way. Doesn't really matter for now. We can move these pipes later. If we give this an upgrade, and that an upgrade, and that an upgrade, that should get us our first material, our 120 of this. Now we're back onto making the 2 dissolution chambers for this, but this time we got plenty of space. So we can do that. We know we need 1 of these presses going into one of these, and then we need 2 furnaces to make this. So there's our press. We'll flip that around and we'll put 1 furnace, say, here. And then 1 furnace, say, here. And now we just need to route in our iron. Our aluminium, sorry. So we'll do a 3-way split. Like that, and that. And now we can get our aluminium in like that, and like that. If we just upgrade this, and this, that should get us all that at the right volume. Now we get that in. And now we've got 2 of the 3 components of it. And it also needs this liquid chloride. But we can easily pipe that in somehow. We can even temporarily just use one of these quantum pipe transporters. So if we put an input in here and get that going like that, there's the input. We'll put another quantum pipe transporter over here. We can change this to a pipe if it turns out cheaper, which I suspect it will turn out cheaper. We'll get the output going there. And then that should be able to link with these 2. And then Okay. One further back. Go up. And in here. Like that. Now we need to connect that to a network. Purple will do. We'll connect that to the same network. And theoretically, that should now get the thing that I need out. So there's an output, and we want liquid chloride. There we go. And there is our 120 of that. Now we just need space for this thing over here. And we've left plenty of space for 4 furnaces. So we can do like a pair of furnaces like that. Get it out 1 tile. We need to now move this pipe a little bit out of the way. That way we've got plenty of room to work here. We can do 1 here. And again, we can do our split here. Make it a little bit easier. Again, this is not optimal, but it should be a working solution. And that's what we're after right now. So we did our first split there. And then into here. There's half of it. Now we need another set of this. Preferably around the same area. And then we just need an input output sort of like this. And then that can go out like that. Go out here. And that's it. Now all of this can link together somewhere and then go into our final dissolution chambers. Now we've got plenty of space for where we want to put that final dissolution chamber. And the dissolution chamber has 3 solid inputs, so it's not super easy. We'll take one of the 60 inputs and put them in together. So say I put my dissolution chamber right on the end there with plenty of room for lifts. Oh, this thing sticks out over here. Ooh, where can we put this? Like here and here. Then we got plenty of room to do the belting. What's the closest material that can go in there? We got one material here, which we haven't given a lift or anything for. And then we need to put all of the materials in here. I reckon we need to do this. But that's not enough room here now. Oh, we're like 1 tile short. The 2 dissolution chambers still don't fit, even with all of this. That's crazy. Alright, let's fit it in the worst place possible, which is here, because that makes it go backwards and then in. But at least, if I fit it here, I can fit this here. But then how does these 2 materials get out? Because of this thing here. And this thing here, because it needs 3 solid materials, right? Oh man. 3 solid materials into a dissolution chamber is not easy. Can we split up the dissolution chambers? That would be crazy. Even this build is difficult. How? How is this possible? Let's move this out of the way. Then maybe we can condense this a lot more. Let's move this out of the way. That can be going anywhere. What if we moved these like all the way to the edge over here and tried to condense this such that it's right here. Like this. Then we can put our thing here and put this thing, say, here. Get that out. Get that out. And then we can put dissolution chambers here. And then potentially we have enough room. We still don't have enough room for all the lifts we need. Wow, that is crazy tight. Can we compress this anymore? I feel like we can probably compress this somehow. But how? If we move this up, we can't because of this thing. If we move this up like that, I see at least one bit of space, even 2 bits of space, like that. But how does that help me? I can put one dissolution chamber here and here, but that still doesn't help me. I think we are pretty close. We just need to condense one space, and I think the way to do it is by putting this splitter up the top here. So if we delete this, get rid of this for now. Let's take this, put it over here, and then we can conserve one layer of space because we don't need this anymore, right? We just need some inputs in like this. And by doing that, let me flip this around just in case we need this 2 tiles of space for whatever reason. Let's chuck that in here, and then we'll just belt that in, and belt that in. More belts over here, but at least that works, and we've saved that one little bit of space. And with that, hopefully at last, I'll just barely be able to fit that in. So we can get that directly in. We can get that kind of directly in. We want to get it into this one, right? Because this one's going to be a splitter. Now with this splitter, all our materials are coming from this side of the world. So we want to sort that out first. What happened to my belt over here? So this is one material and this is one material. And we notice that this is sharing a belt area, which isn't going to work. So we might need to move this around a bit. Something like this. Maybe. Might need to put that something like that. Move this out one. Like that. And then we'll do something like that. This belt should have no problem going into here. And now our 30 should be able to come out, say like that. We'll figure out how to pipe these in a bit. But that's one of our outputs. Another one of our outputs is this. So we'll just do something like that. And then we can figure out a way for this pipe to come in. Maybe like this, nice and out of the way of all this crap. We'll have to do a lot of repiping. But now we've got our 2 belts of stuff. So we can get one belt into here. We will need a lift. Now this lift, because it intercepts over here, we kind of need it to be here. And then I can't go that way. Okay. Let's see if that will allow me to go this way. I feel like that works. Except this needs a lift, right? So somewhere here, I'm going to need to do an in, a lift, no, a belt that goes in for the 3rd material, a lift that does that, and then maybe a lift that does that. And then I can have a belt that goes there. So then I just need a lift that goes into here. Oh man, this is getting crazy. So I did that. Then I can get a belt that goes into there. And then one of my lifts needs to go in there. So we'll get the closer one to the closer one. Maybe we can use this halfway point as a stopping point. And that lets me go in there. Nice. And now this one, we want it to come out this way and into there somehow. It does find, wait. It does find a path. It's a little bit long. But it does find a path over. I don't know, we might have to amend these belts as we go. Now, that's pretty much done. The last thing that we need in this... Wait, why are we getting no materials over? This isn't even working because I don't have my pipe anymore. I think it's time to get rid of this crap and put in the real pipe. So where can this pipe come out? Probably out this side. What's blocking it on here? So we need to go up 1. We might as well go up 2. That way it can clear the top of these barrels and just make its way over here. We'll go around the back. If we need to shave off a few energy points, we can do that later. But for now, we'll go around the back and that gets our material out. With that material, it's going into here. So now we're getting that and that, but we aren't getting our this material. Why is that? That's definitely going into here, but this thing's like question mark. It doesn't like that. Because that's not going out. There we go. That gets that material. And hopefully that's now all 3 materials. All we need is our final liquid input, and we need to find a route for that. Maybe we can go up like that, and then over through here, through this, and then somewhere down here this liquid can come out and then come up and meet this pipe somewhere. There you go. And there we go. Now that's our 30 per minute to make 60, but we're aiming for 120 per minute. So that means we need to overclock everything, and we'll work on one material at a time. We've done everything such that we have everything overclocked. So it's just a matter of overclocking the machines themselves. So for example, this, that overclocks that. We don't need to upgrade the belts here, thankfully. It tells me there's enough. Now we've got that enough. Next we need to overclock this machine. So that one's this. Then we need to overclock this machine. This machine has issues because, this machine has a lot of issues. Because, how am I going to get 2 belts out? So I can split the belt like this. That's okay, it's happy with that. But, no. One needs to input there, and I need it here somewhere. Like this. And then another belt. Well, I might as well go this way then. Because one belt needs to go into here. And I don't have room for the other belt to go into here. But does this need to go this way? Yes. There's no more room for the belt to come in. Let's get rid of this for now and figure out this first. Actually, no, we can get rid of this now because we don't need that. So maybe this can go here. And then maybe we can get another belt like into here. And then that can go here. Apparently it doesn't like that. It won't join here. But what if I flip this then? Like that? No, because that hits the top of that. What if we move this out 1? No, because then that hits the top of this. Oh my god, this is actually hard. We might have to rethink this section a little bit. It's not too bad because they only have 1 input. We can actually just turn the way this works. So there's no reason this needs to be like there. We can turn this to be, say, like this, right? And then this belt can join with this belt like that. And then maybe we can fit 2 lifts in like this somehow. Like 1 there and 1 here somewhere. Like we can do like 1 here, 1 here, and that can go in like that. Then maybe somehow this can do that and this can do that. Okay, that seems to have worked. So we'll upgrade these. We'll have to upgrade this. But then where do we get the liquid input from? Hold on. There's a liquid input there. But there's no more liquid input anywhere else. But we can move this back 1. And then we can do that. And that solves our liquid input problem, kind of. We go this way. Now we need to navigate our way around this mess. You reckon we can go around this way? Apparently. But that's not the pipe that we want to join it against. Is it? It is. Let's get rid of that. This is this liquid. And that's getting the liquid. But what are you not happy about? There's like so many X's here, I can't see what's going on. What are you missing? You got the liquid, you don't have the solid input. Oh wait, that doesn't... come out that way. It only comes out this direction. Hope that's enough belt still to work. Okay, cool. That's still enough belt to work. And if we double that, and then we're going to upgrade this little bit, that is that. The liquid is all good. But now this is coming out at 240. So these two belts need to be upgraded. Now, what else are you missing? You got your plastic. Now, all of this crap needs to be overclocked. 1, 2, 3. That's that one. Overclock that. Overclock that. Overclock that. 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 This thing and this thing. Now, we need to upgrade these outputs. This one shouldn't be an issue. So that sorts that out. But there's still a belt. I think it's this one that we need to upgrade. There we go. That gets all of that upgraded. Now we've got enough, but the belt isn't at right capacity. So we've got to upgrade this belt now. And this tiny little bit where they merge. And boom, we've got 240. Nice. Our final bit of upgrade is these. So we just got to upgrade this, 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 and this. And we should have no capacity issues here at all. This thing needs upgrading because of that. Now, we do have an issue with this. Because where is this going to come out now? Now that I've put this here. Oh dear. Okay, let me get rid of this thing over here. So the only place this can come out is here. So we might need to elevate it to clear here. But we can use height to our advantage over here. And now, that one was meant to link to this back one. But I'm thinking maybe we want to link it to the front one now. So the one that was going here will elevate. That's too tall. Like that. Then you can travel your way to the middle of the world. And then preferably in here. And now this belt can go away. And maybe we can find a nice little path for this one to be nice and short. And that needs to be faster. That needs to be faster. And that needs to be faster. What are we missing still? This thing over here. We've got to figure out a path for this pipe to get to there. So maybe instead of trying to do this craziness, we just elevate the pipe twice. And then just clear the top and down. That should be nice and simple. And now we've got our 60 per minute of both items. How are we doing for power? 2198. Okay, so we're slightly underpowered. But are we fast enough? So we need to finish it at minute 50, but we've got to maintain this for a minute. So by the 50-second mark, this thing needs to be kicked off already. Let's observe while we're here what the slowest component actually is. So this thing's in, this thing's already in. So I think it's still this thing being the slowest. Oh, sorry. I'm an idiot. I haven't even put in a belt to get this out yet. So by the 50-second mark, we want everything to kick off. So we're at the 30-second mark already. Let's slow it down. 3. We might be like a few seconds out. It just kicked off. And now we're at the 50-second mark. Oh my god, we might be like just on time. Well, only time will tell. If we need to speed things up, we do have a few points. We can get this belt a little bit faster, but we don't have that many points. Let's see if we got our 5 stars. Oh wow, we got our 5 stars straight up. Amazing. No edits required. People have done this a lot better, much faster. If I can see the solution, that's way under a minute 50. We can have a look how they did that. A minute 50 is about 110 seconds. This one's really fast. Wow, look how clean this looks. He's done the same thing as me to produce that. He's done this there as well. Oh, he's using the 2 advanced things over here. How is he doing this so clean? The plastic is going into here, and then the plastic product is coming out, and his final product is being made here, so it delivers really quickly. How is the advanced furnace stuff over here being brought over if there's no belt? I don't see a belt. Oh. It's being brought over here, maybe? And where's his final product? I don't even see the final product. I think the final product is being done somewhere here. So he's done the same thing for the aluminum as well. I think all of these, underneath all of these belts, maybe? No. Here, these are the 2 final dissolution chambers he's using. Yeah, I can't really tell from this screenshot, but very clean, very good work. But mostly similar to our solution, just a cleaner version of it, basically. I think the key is to move the final production of that material back to here, and then just turn all of our copper stuff that way. That would have been cleaner. Nice, very good. But we're happy with our 5 stars, so we're going to move on to the next level.